coming.
Thank you.
Trying to squeeze programs into whatever the President says you've got available, I know is a very difficult job, and you've got to pick some winners and losers. You know, I know that programs talk about hardware and delivery systems and stuff like that. I'm kind of concerned about people, and we're all in favor of having more jobs available, and haven't done a very good job in that during the current recession. But delays in developing the new Space Shuttle program have resulted in the loss of about 10,000 jobs. And do you think the private sector will be able to absorb these 10,000 jobs as a result of increased reliance on the private sector, or are we going to be having some highly trained engineers who know a lot about the developing spacecraft just go off into another area of endeavor?
Congressman, regretfully, the answer to that question is regional. If you were to ask me about Texas, we have had incredible success in placing our employees who have lost their job because the petrochemical industry has sucked them up. If you are talking about Florida, that is probably the area that is the hardest hit, and it is because we have been unsuccessful in working with the State of Florida to get them to bring high-tech jobs, alternative high-tech jobs into the area. But the Lieutenant Governor and I are working diligently to try to find companies that want to come into Florida and utilize the talent that we have there. So it's a slog. We're going to get there.
What's NASA doing to ensure that we don't lose these people forever?
Congressman, what we're trying to do, particularly with the NASA workforce, and unfortunately I have to differentiate between the civil service workforce and the contractor workforce, because I actually have very little control over the contractor workforce and what happens to them, other than going out and using more of our money to hire contractors instead of focusing on content to programs and keeping the civil service workforce. In the case of the civil service workforce, we're trying to do everything we can to retrain people where necessary, to make lateral moves so that we put them in the proper skill, the proper position to utilize their skills. And in some cases, in my visits to the centers, I'm asking people to come in and say, hey, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. I think I would be better at doing this, and asking for a move into another field if they think there's something else they can do.
Now, we spend about $3 billion a year on the space station. We have 2 astronauts up on the space station now, which I think is probably the most expensive jobs program in the universe. Mrs. Johnson has complained about some changes. How about reducing the space station budget and perhaps reducing the $1.5 billion per job that we create up there?
Congressman, I would disagree with you in your assessment that it's an expensive jobs program. The space station program is not a jobs program at all. The space station program is the most incredible technological achievement of this nation and the world. And I would refer anybody to not just to NASA's website, but to the website of any of our other 4 international partners. This document, which shows
what proportion do they pay, the partners pay for the
Every
space
partner
station?
pays a proportional amount. Russia and the United States paid the lion's share because only we know how to build spacecraft the way we do. But every partner is required to put in a certain amount, and there is no exchange of funds. So let me make sure everybody understands that. We work with our partners on a barter arrangement. So we may get a spacecraft from them for an opportunity for one of their astronauts to fly, or we may get some other component from them for some service. But there is no exchange of funds.
Okay, I have one more series of questions relative to the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yes, sir.
That currently has a cost overrun of 900%, and that's shameful and that's shocking. What would happen if we said we weren't going to give you any more money on this, and you're going to have to do with what's on the baseline? And my second question, and this is not facetious, is that telescope going to be strong enough to see the bottom of the financial hole that we've dug for it?
Congressman, I would say, first of all, James Webb has the potential to expand our understanding of our universe many times more than the Hubble Space Telescope has done. And we never dreamed of what Hubble would do. I don't think you can put a financial price tag or a value on the incredible achievements of the Hubble Space Telescope. I don't think you can put, if I were to go through the benefits in this document and try to put a dollar value on it and divide it by the number of people who have worked on the International Space Station program in the 12 or so years we've been flying, I think you'd be marveled at the small cost per person to do this. So I don't think we can attach financial value to this, unfortunately, because we're talking about life-saving drugs. We're talking about medical innovation.
I know about all of that, but one thing I've experienced in the 30 years that I've been on this committee is that NASA always seems to have cost overruns on everything, and with the James Webb Telescope, it's 900%.
Congressman, if I were to show you instruments like, or satellites such as Juno and Grail, which are, Juno is on its way to Jupiter.
You're dodging around the question about the Webb telescope.
Since I became the NASA administrator, and I did not do this, by the way, this started in 2009 before I became the administrator, NASA adopted a process called joint cost level. We're looking at cost and schedule, and we are making sure that we can guarantee an 80% probability of success on missions. Juno, Grail, Maven, other projects that have been conducted in my time as the NASA administrator have no cost overruns. In fact, some of them have underrun their cost estimate. All of them have been delivered on time. The James Webb Space Telescope, in the last year and a half, since we brought our replan to this Congress and got it approved, James Webb is on target. Every milestone it was supposed to reach except one has been reached on time. That one was deferred because we needed to do that for another reason, not related to our ability to do it. Cost is on cost. So I think we have adopted a new way of pricing that makes us much more attendant to cost and schedule, and I don't think you're going to see the overruns that we have historically had.
I thank the Chair.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize